A big hello from me and welcome to the channel and welcome to episode 1 of Gloomhaven, Buttons and Bugs, the campaign playthrough. And whether you're new to Gloomhaven or you have some experience with the franchise, hopefully you'll be able to tag along for the ride and enjoy this wonderful little game. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on how to play the game like I said a minute ago. If you are new to it, a lot of the terminology, a lot of things on the board are going to be alien to you, but do not worry, this is going to be a learn while doing kind of playthrough. I'll explain things as they're going along, and scenario number 1 in the scenario deck is very much a tutorial kind of mission. It eases you into all of the flavour and all of the rules that Gloomhaven has to offer, and trust me, there is a ton. So the character I will be playing is the Mindthief, so I'll just show you the stat card there. So this is the Mindthief. I'll flip him over and we'll have a little read of him. It does say complexity medium. I have played Gloomhaven before, but I've never played the Mindthief, and I wanted to give it a go because it's a bit of a quirky little character. So anyway, the Mindthief controls the battlefield through magic and manipulation. They also employ powerful psychic augments as they dance across the battlefield, slipping in to stab their unsuspecting foes. These level 1 cards are what we start with. I have 4 cards in my hand, and as we level up and progress through the campaign, I can then upgrade certain cards to much more powerful versions, but that's for another video. So, a few little things to do before we get started. I'll also show you the lovely little miniature. That he is very, very miniature. Probably, barely over a centimetre tall. But anyway, we'll pop him there. This card will be kind of sliding out of the way as we play because I need this space here for the active cards. We have a side for discard and lost cards. Lost cards are essentially burn cards. If you play trading card games, it just means you don't get them back until the end of a scenario. But we will be moving that down. We're starting at level 1, obviously, so I've set my health dial to 10. This is my attack modifier trait. I'll go through that when we use it. This is the enemy attack modifier trait and the enemy itself for scenario 1. I didn't need to set this out, but I thought I would early on just so it's there. And hopefully you guys can see this. There is a little reference card there. If I do say anything I don't kind of explain it, please forgive me. This is my first time doing a campaign playthrough like this. But the stuff is there. And obviously, if you do know Gloomhaven and I do get some things wrong, please let me know in the comments and I'll make it better next time. We do have a couple of status tokens as well. We have poison, we have wounded, and we have muddled. But again, when they come into play, I will explain these things. So we're going to slide him down a little bit. As I said earlier, we do start with 4 cards. So we'll go through these first. If I flip those over, they have an A and B side. And how that works essentially, on each of my turns, I choose 2 cards to play. And I can do the top of 1 card, the bottom of another. The number in the middle is the initiative order. So depending on the enemy's initiative, which is this number here, 30, 50 or 70, which is determined when we take their turn, I choose one of these 2 numbers, and it doesn't really matter. I could choose initiative 18 on this card, but still use a different card first. This is just kind of determining or preempting where I want to go in the initiative order based on where enemies are and things like that. But anyway, so what we do is I will pick 2 cards on my turn, do the top half of one, the bottom half of the other. This will then flip over to its B side and go back into my hand. Now, because I'm kind of limited on space, I will put these cards to the side and I'll let you know when I'm using them and flipping them over and things like that. This game kind of runs on a stamina system. I do have health points. If I go to 0 health, I die. But if on my turn I cannot actively play or cannot physically play 2 cards, I'm also classed as exhausted, which is the same as being knocked out, and I will lose the scenario, and I'll have to try it again. So, but I'll go through how you pull those cards back to your hand from your discard pile. You can't really pull them back from lost unless something specifically says so. But with that in mind, let's dive into the scenario deck, and we will jump into buttons and bugs. So, let's begin the scenario. Flip it over. Card number 1, that shrinking feeling. What a time for Gloomhaven. First, a black tornado from the void nearly destroyed the city. Then there were reports of the very essence of corruption trying to end everything. But all's well that ends well. And at the centre of both events, hail a mysterious Aesther, who lives in a derelict tavern, the Crooked Bone. It said she can turn anyone into a hero, exactly what you want to be. Sure, you don't have a lot of training, but put in front of the right adventure, you'd get the acclaim that is due to you. So, with that bold purpose, you step across the threshold of the Crooked Bone and... No, that's not right. Everything is growing. Why is the doorway so large? Why are you so small? Is this some sort of Aesther enchantment? You've been shrunk. Play scenario 1, a rude welcome. Grab scenario 1. So when we use these cards, we don't read past the goal because that's if we complete it. So we only do the top half. These as well are the items for later. I'll explain that. This is the level of the scenario. That's the level of our character. So scenario 1, a rude welcome. Got some fancy gear there. You whirl around taking in your familiar yet unfamiliar surroundings. Your attention settles on a scruffy character behind you, luckily on par with your diminutive stature. Nice and shiny like it's never been used. Hand it all over and I'll let you live. Well, that simply won't do. Your gear is unused, but there's really only one solution for that. Monsters, bandit guard, the goal is to defeat all monsters. We will put the scenario deck there. And we will flip over the card, and this is our game board. This is how miniature this game is. So before we jump into things, I'll go over a couple of the icons on the board. So these are basic movement hexes, no issues. This is our starting area. We'll put our little miniature there. Green is impassable terrain, but it doesn't block line of sight. So if we've got ranged attacks or spells, we can fire through them. Orange spaces are traps. If we move into them, we take the point of damage, but we don't take it if we move off it, and we do want to move off it. And this is where the enemies start. We have a green enemy and a blue enemy, and I've prepped them over there. So there is our little board. We'll grab our little Mindthief. We will set him there. Enemy number 1 on the green. Enemy number 2. There we go. So this is our attack modifier trait. Anytime we try to cause damage to an enemy, we have to roll this little dice here, and we gain the benefit or penalty based on the symbol. So there's the circle there would mean +0. So whatever damage shows on a card, for instance, if it says deal 2 damage, I would deal 2. If I hit minus, I would do -1. And we roll the dice for every single target, not every attack. Some attacks will say choose 2 targets. We still roll individually for each target. Once we've done that, we move it down and the modifier trait will change. Further down, there will be a null symbol. This means our attack totally fails. We will still get the modifiers if it's poisoned someone or wounded someone, but no damage. And then down here, there's a ×2 for double damage. And this is our level 1 trait. As we level up as a Mindthief, this trait will get better and better. Enemies also have them. We're running the standard difficulty one, but there is easy mode, hard mode. Depending on how the campaign goes, we'll keep it on standard for now. And this is the enemy card just here. On the enemy turn, before the enemy turn, sorry, when I'm picking my 2 cards, I'll choose my initiative number. Then we will roll the dice again, and this will determine the initiative order of the enemy. And they will do all of these things, as many of those things as they can. So, for instance, on 30 here, it would be move 2 spaces towards me. I'm the player. Deal a damage, block a damage. This is the health of the enemies, and this is a passive ability. This means that the bandit guards have a natural defense of 1, but if they go on initiative 30, they'll have a defense of 2 for the turn, which is quite soaky for a level 1 character. But we'll see how it goes. So anyway, let's dive in. So the aim of this scenario is quite simple: destroy all enemies. I now need to pick 2 cards from my hand of cards, and we'll take it from there. Okay, for this round, I will be going on initiative 18, and I've chosen Withering Claw and Parasitic Influence. And I'm going to use the top of Withering Claw and the bottom of Parasitic Influence. Now, so I'm going on 18. I'll place those cards there just so we know what I'm using. But then I also need to roll the initiative of the baddies. Okay, it stays the same. The baddies are going on 50, which means I go first. And on their turn, baddies will be moving 1 and attacking for 2. So, and it will go green, blue, enemy 1, enemy 2. So I go first. I'm going to use the bottom of this card, which is Parasitic Influence, which is control 1 enemy within 3 hexes. So I'm going to control this one. Now, because line of sight is there, I can still control him. He's only 2 away. I get to move him 2 spaces. So he's going to go 1, 2. That's that half of the card done. That now returns to my hand and flips over to B side, which I'll put to the side over there, just so I remember. And now I get to do the top of the card, which is Withering Claw. Now, it's got a base damage of 2, but because I'm making an attack, I do need to roll to see if I get a modifier. I get a plus, which is great because it's a +1. So my base damage is now 3. The armor of the enemy is 1. I deal 2 points of damage to the green enemy. So this 8 up here becomes 6. Nice. Nice and easy. There we go. So we'll put that there. I may need to move those down so we can actually see the health of the enemies. Yeah, we'll put those there for now, and we'll see what happens. So 6 to the bad guy, and Withering Claw now flips to B side and goes to my hand. Okay, so my turn is done. The enemies now activate on 50. Green is enemy number 1, and he's going to go down his list of things to do, then hit me. He gets to move 1 square, but because he's in melee with me, he's not going to move. He's just going to do a straight 2 damage. Now, unlike enemies, I have no natural armor. I'm going to take a minimum of 2. But because it's a combat, we roll the dice for the bad guys. Okay, we'll roll it so we can see it. There we go. Minus. So it's going to do -1. 2 minus 1, I take a point of damage. So my 10... Okay, we're back after knocking everything over. Right, so I take 1 point of damage. So my 10 now becomes a 9, which I think is on the other side. There we go. So we're on 9 health points. Green enemy is now done. Blue enemy activates and does the same thing. So he moves 1 square and deals 2 damage. So because he only moves 1 square, he doesn't have a ranged attack. I am out of range. Nothing happens. We then go to round 2. I choose 2 more cards from hand. And as I said earlier, I can now pick either 2 A sides, my 2 B sides, or mix and match. I could have an A and a B, B and an A, that kind of thing. So let's have a look at what cards we've got. Also, before we continue, I must note as well, with the 2 damage that I did, or the 3 damage, I've also poisoned and muddled the green enemy. So I'm going to put a poison next to green and a muddled next to green. Now, for reference, when a poisoned enemy is dealt damage, you deal an additional point of damage. And when an enemy is muddled, when they make an attack and they roll on their chart, they have to roll the dice twice and take the worst result. I should have done that before, but it's okay. I will do it now. And because the round has ended and we made attacks, I made 1 attack, so that moves down. Enemy green made 1 attack, that moves down. We will remember. I'm still learning as well, but we'll get there. Right, anyway, let's pick some cards. Okay, for round 2's cards, I have chosen Scurry and the Mind's Weakness, and I'm going to go on initiative 20. At the minute, I want to act as fast as I can. I need to hit these guys quite rapidly before they can do some big hits to me, so we'll put those there. So I'm going on initiative 20. We'll roll this for the bad guys to see what initiative they're going on. Minus, so they're going on 30, and this time these enemies get to move 2 spaces, deal a damage, and they've got a +1 defense, which isn't amazing, but luckily we poisoned the green dude. So I go first. So what I'm thinking, pals, is I'm going to use the top half of Scurry, which allows me to move 3 squares, hexes, then make an attack. Then the the bottom half of my second card, I'm going to do an additional attack for 2, but also I will weaken, bleed. I will cause bleed to an enemy, which is pretty cool. They take a point of damage when they activate until they are healed, and these guys don't have any healing, so we're going to do that. So top half, Scurry, I move up to 3 hexes. I'm only going to move 2, so we're going to scooch over there. I'm then going to do an attack for 2, which means I roll this dice to see what modifier I get first. I get the 0, which is no modifier, but unfortunately they have a defense of 2. This has done no damage, and we move it down. Card done. I flip that to B side, that goes into hand, and now I get to use this card, but the bottom half. Again, it's a power 2 attack, but hopefully we're going to be dishing out this because it's another target. Another attack, I get to roll this again. We get the minus. It does absolutely nothing in terms of damage, but we do give our blue friend a little status problem there. And I've just flipped over the reference sheet just because a few things are going on now. So wound is suffer a point of damage at the start of each turn, remove when healed. So my turn is done. I flip that to B, so all of the cards in my hand are now B side because we only have 4 cards. Right, it is now the enemy turn. They activate on 30. Green goes first. So green is going to move 2 spaces. Shortest path is going to be 1, 2. Is right behind me. Is going to attack me for 1. So we will roll this and then chat. What did we get? We got I'll roll it again. Okay, we got a plus. So the plus is hitting me for +2. That is a big hit. So I am taking 3 points of damage. So 9 goes down to 6. 8, 7, 6. No, I'm not. He's muddled. I need to remember he takes the worst of the results. 0, which is +0. Way. So we'll heal 2. Okay, come on, Paul. We'll get there. We'll get there. So I only take a point of damage, which is really cool. So green is done. We then move that down. Now there's a chance the blue bad guy might roll a null, which is really good. We could kind of do with that. Blue is not going to move because he's already next to me. He's going to hit me for a base damage of 1. I'll roll this. He gets a plus. He deals +1. So he hits me for 2 points of damage. It's a lot better than it could have been. Glad we remembered muddled. Now that muddled is done, we discard it because it only lasts for 1 attack. We then move this down. And that is round ended. And we begin another round. So the cards in my hand, I only have B-sides. So let's pick the next card. The next cards. And because B activated with a wound as well, he naturally takes a point of damage, which is really good. That's kind of helped us. We kind of needed that because we caused no damage there. So we are relying on poison and wounded right now. Right, let's pick our 2 cards for the turn. Okay, I think I've got my cards. I'm going to choose Into the Night and Possession. Okay, so I'm going to go on initiative 7. I want to go as quick as I can. And I'll show you why we're using these. We've got some cool little things going on. So we're going on 7. We'll roll this for the enemies. Their initiative is 70. Okay, so we move that up. But they are doing a big hit because they're acting quite late into the round. So initiative 7. So first and foremost, I am going to use the bottom of Possession. This is damage 1. Target 1 enemy within 2 hexes. And I will give them the disarm status conditions. So I'm going to give it to the blue guy. So I'm going to make an attack. We'll roll this. We have a plus, which means it does +1 to the enemy. They have a natural shield of 1, which means it takes 1 point of damage. Okay, so blue enemy is down to 6. But luckily, I've given him a status issue, which is the disarm. So we give him this. And that means he cannot attack on his turn. He discards it at the end of his turn, but he cannot attack this turn, which is really cool. So we've used that half. Next, we're going to do this, and this is where the combo comes in. Into the Night is 3 base damage, but add 2 damage for each negative condition the target has. Now, he has 2 negative conditions, so that's +4. So we're swinging with a base of 7. If we roll good on our attack chart, it should be good. I think I needed to move it down last turn. I might have forgot. Ignore me. So I roll that. We get a plus. We get a +1. So how it works is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. +1 is 8. -1 for his armor. Down to 7. He only has 6 health. He is dead. Blue lad is gone. Farewell, my friend. Okay, but that is our turn done. And now, this is something new. These cards, because they've already been flipped to their B side, I'm going to move this over just to show you. He's still poisoned. These now go into discard. And I'll explain how to get discard back if we get to it. We probably will get to it, but I'll let you know. It's about resting and short resting and things. I'll put my 6 health there. But now it's the bad guy's turn. And I'm all out of things to do. So the bad guys are going to move 2 squares. He doesn't need to move. He's going to swing with a natural 2 points of damage, but we do roll this. And he's hitting me for the circle one, which is no modifiers. I take 2 points of damage, so I'm down to 4. This is getting quite close, you know. Quite close. So we're down to 4. End of round. That moves down. New round begins. And let's pick some cards now. I've only got 2 cards left in my hand, so regardless of what I want to do, this is all we have. So we have Gnawing Horde and Empathetic Assault. I want to hit as hard and as fast as I can. I need to kill this guy before he kind of kills me. Now, he has 6 points of health. It could be a good shout to maybe move out of the way, get my bearings, quite possibly. He's already poisoned, so I don't really need to do any poison. But actually, you know what? I'm going to show you some other neat little features. I'm going to activate on 11 because I want to activate as fast as I can. I'm going to roll this. Enemy gets a plus. Enemy is staying on 70. So I'm going to use the bottom of Empathetic Assault, which is move 2 squares. Oh no, sorry. I'll do it the other way. We'll do Gnawing Horde first. So this symbol here means retaliate 2. So what that means is if I'm attacked on the enemy turn, I instantly deal 2 points of damage to an enemy. And because he's poisoned, all attackers gain +1 damage, prevents healing, remove. Right, it's not an attack, so we don't gain that. But we get to whack him. We get to retaliate for 2 points of damage essentially, and he also gains shield 1 for the turn. And this symbol here means it stays in my active zone. So as long as this is in my active zone, I gain the shield bonus. But I'll show you why that could be a bit of a bad thing if a game progresses, because if we run out of cards, if we can't play 2, it's game over. But for now, we have retaliate 2. He's already poisoned. I have got shield 1. The next thing I'm going to do, Empathetic Assault, I've got to use the bottom half. I'm going to move 2 spaces. So 1, 2, I'm going to try and get some distance between the bad guy. And I get to heal 2. So 4 goes back up to 6. I really needed that. And we'll do that. These now discard. So a few things are going to happen after the enemy turn. I'll do that first and then we'll get into it. Enemy now activates. He gets to move 2 spaces. He does move up to me. He does swing at me, and now I do have retaliate activated. And if I flip this over, retaliate keyword is retaliate X. Attacker suffers damage equal to the retaliate cost. The retaliate cost, that is actually still in play. The retaliate cost is 2, so he's going to take 2 points of damage no matter what. So just for attacking, he takes 2. He doesn't gain a bonus because I'm not actually hitting him, but now he gets to swing, and we roll this for him. So he gets a plus. He's dealing double damage on his attack. Boy, oh boy, did we need this, because his attack is 2. Double to 4 minus my 1 shield. I take 3. Oof, even with heals. That's a big hit for the Mindthief. So, end of my turn. I have no cards in hand. They are all in discard. So a few things are going to happen now. And this is where resting will come into play. So I can do either a short rest or a long rest. And for this instance, I will do a short rest. Now, I'll explain what happens. I take all of the cards from my discard. This is at the end of the round, I've got to do this. I return all cards from discard to hand. I flip them to the A side, meaning I can use AA, BBB, that kind of thing. Then I have to lose one at random. Now, I can cause myself a wound to lose a different card, but it's still random. I would have to just put it back in and choose a different one. So this is random, so I'm going to have to just randomly grab these, do this really fast, grab that. That is the one that's going. This is now going into lost. He is gone forever. So that is now in my lost area. These are the only cards I now have in hand. And because I've got to play 2, you can kind of guess I've only got 2 rounds before I have to do it again. But I would only have 1 card left, so I'd have to pull this from my active zone, which I can do at any time, and put it into discard. So for now, I'm going to keep that there for the defense, and now I'm down to 2 cards, and we will begin an additional round. The difference between a short and a long rest is a long rest puts you at initiative 99, meaning on the next turn you are definitely going last, but you get to heal 2 health, and you get to choose which card you lose instead of a random one. But for now, we'll do this. So these are the 2 cards that I've got. So, A side, we've got Parasitic Influence and the Mind's Weakness. I am definitely playing... Well, I've got to play these 2 cards. I've got 3 health there. This is still in play, which means I have Shield 1. Now, in what order shall we do these? I mean, I'm going to go for 48. I want to act as fast as I can. And then we need to figure out how we want to essentially end this game. Or end this scenario, try and beat this dude. He has got a poison counter, so we need to hit him just as much as we can. So, initiative 48. I'll roll the initiative for the bad guys. They are going on 50, which is lucky. I'm still going first. So, I am going to play Parasitic Influence first, which is after each of your attack abilities, perform a heal 2, and that stays on the field if I want it to, as an active card, essentially. So, I'll do the attack first, so we'll roll this for the modifier. We get a minus, which means it gets a -1. We move it down. So I am only hitting for 1 point of damage. He has 1 shield. It does absolutely nothing. But because he's poisoned, it didn't negate, it didn't nullify. He still takes a point of damage from the poison, which is lucky. So he's down to 3. Then I've got to use the bottom of the next card. So this is just a straight attack for 2. I'll roll this for my modifier. We get another negative, which again is -1. So 2 -1, +1 for poison. So we take 2 off him. Bonk, bonk. He's down to 1 health. I cannot believe he's down to 1. But luckily, look what we've done. We've wounded him. And you know what that does, don't you? At the beginning of his activation, if I'm correct, let me have a look. At the start of each turn, remove when healed. So as soon as he activates, when it says turn, it's his turn, not the round. At the start of his activation, he is going to die. I'm going to end my turn there. Then I'll go back to hand, flip over to B side. The enemy begins his turn. He takes a point of damage, which is enough to kill him. We remove him. Scenario complete. That was very, very close. And that would have moved down as well. Very, very close. But we have done it. So we'll grab this and we will flip it over and we will read the win. Well, your gear certainly isn't shiny anymore, and it wasn't even particularly fancy to begin with, come to think of it. Got the job done at least, but your situation is quite dire. You'll need to survive long enough to find out how to restore yourself to original size. But for now, you'll need to deal with the vermling that just appeared. Read the Collector. So we'll move that to the side. Next card on the deck, if we just pop them there. So this is the Collector. This is the vermling that's just turned up. We're going to flip him over. The Collector. Took out the scavengers, I see, the vermling offers. You're not the first to barge in on hail and get this less than ideal result. We've all been there. Some of us have realised the need to work together if we are to make the best of this. I assume you'd like to be big again. You nod. Of course we do. Then I have a proposal for you. During my time here, I have collected things that may be useful. You may borrow them, and in exchange I will accompany you so I may expand my collection. I can also tell you that your best hope for escape is getting into the Crooked Bone and taking the issue with hail. Unfortunately, you look behind you to see the door now firmly closed. Yeah, the only way in is through Button's Kingdom across the road. Come on! You can now equip items during scenario setup. Play scenario 2, crossing the road. So scenario 2 is there, but we will leave the video here for now. We can now equip items, and I will explain how that works. So at the moment, these are the cards that we have completed. We've read all of the text, and these are the items that we can actually use and we can equip. So on the card, you can see at the bottom, when we equip an item, we can bring these into the game when we put them there. They have certain icons. You can carry a certain number of things equal to the number of fists that you, well, number of hands that you have on the icon. So you can carry two hand items, and I think it is two of these items as well. So for instance, if we took these rose thorn knife during your attack, you would get to imbue the elements, either frost or earth. And I'll explain how that goes in the next game as well. It also gives us a little, I think that's a shot to the foot or something. Let me take a look. Or pierce, reduce armor. So that would have been good for that scenario. This one here, bottle cap helm. During an enemy's attack, treat its plus modifier as a circle, which is really good because it kind of weakens the attack a little bit. But then you do have to exhaust it. This essentially just means tap it sideways, and it is used for the time being. You can untap it and gain access to it again when you take a long rest. So aside from being able to heal yourself by 2 and going on initiative 99, long rests allow you to gain certain items back, which is really cool. And then the shrunken weathered boots is during your movement, add 1 speed. Again, exhaust it, but then you can gain it back as well. But again, we'll look at that in scenario number 2 when we hit crossing the road. So my friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope this wasn't as chaotic as it has felt. We did well. We did well. We survived. The Mindthief survived by the skin of his little rat teeth, but hopefully in the next scenario we will do better. Until then, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the comments if you have any hints, tips, conversations about the game. Until next time, take care.